There's a new expense for parents to be that you can pay if you want, but don't worry, having a kid isn't expensive, so you probably have a bunch of spare money. Did you know that you can pay for baby name consultation? And you're probably wondering, well, that sounds great. I definitely want to pay for that. How much is it? Well, potentially way more than you'd think. So anyway, this is to help people navigate the difficult process of choosing a name for their baby. And there's a lot of different people that are doing this. A wide variety of different services and prices, by the way. But here's an example of one of these sorts of things. It's what'sinababyname.com, a bespoke consulting firm with an intuitive, holistic approach. By the way, you can also get things like doula services and stuff there. So one consultant, Colleen, runs at Naming Bebe, told Vox she offers 3 packages for expecting parents. On the lowest end, it's $99, provides video consultation with 16 name options. 8 name options with extensive name analysis will cost $175. At the highest end for $250, she offers a 16 name package with name analysis and says for some people, baby naming is naturally a fun process. For others, it's actually very stressful because they haven't spent the last 30 years of their lives thinking about baby names. Now, by the way, that's sort of the low end for people who do these services, $100, $200, $300. It can get more expensive, especially if you want help with baby name branding, which can cost $30,000.
Oh my God.
And that's a lot of money, it's the price of a car, but in return, you get a name that reflects their personal brand. Because if your baby comes in this world without a personal brand, honestly, it should be taken away by Child Protective Services. Francesca, what do you think?
There's so much to say.
Your baby has a name. How much did you pay for the name that he chose?
I mean, honestly, I should have just gone with like Red Bull and tried to get that money. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a bad name, actually. I like.
No, yeah, RB.
I'm gonna go with Monster. Monster Iadarola.
Monster's great. Monster Iadarola is a great name. Monster. The way that Bernie Sanders says Monster.
Monster.
But no, this is. I guess I get $99 of like naming analysis. I don't know. You can just Google this stuff, right? I mean, you find out what it means. You're like, okay, that's fine. I like these letters. I like the sound. Go. It is obviously for people who have way too much time on their hands and way too much money and like think any of this actually really matters. The name will come to you. I came up with my name. This is very normal because the James Webb Telescope captured images of the Carina Nebula while I was pregnant, and they're beautiful images. And the Carina Nebula is where stars go to be born and die. And I also live in Hollywood, so it's a perfect name for my daughter. So I call her Carina, not Nebula. But anyway, the point is there's a name out there. It's lovely.
Nebula, but anyway.
Don't name your daughter Nebula.
I'm not going to. I love Carina. Carina's a great name, by the way. But yeah.
Well, first of all, I have a lot of thoughts on names, John. What's your take?
Anyway, so by the way, I also want to say, this seems ridiculous at the same time. I don't care. It's obviously the most optional thing ever. If you want to put your money into this, I'm fairly certain that if you didn't, it would be something equally stupid. So whatever. I don't like. If you want to pay someone $1,000, you can do that. That's fine. There are dumber things to spend your money on. So I don't even mind. And if people want to do this as their job, if there's a demand for it, then do it. I will say that I'm a little bit worried for you in that this seems like the most replaceable job ever when it comes to AI. Like AI can do name analysis and it can do it for a lot more than 16 names. It's bespoke, you talk to them on the video or whatever. So I'm not against these people. To me, it seems like I do care about names a lot. I have spent a lot of time with my wife debating names. I believe that we have chosen, I don't want to jinx it, so we're not gonna say anything. The name Jinx was denied by my wife, she wouldn't let me get that. But anyway, I think Jinx is a cool name. Anyway, and we do care about the meanings somewhat. Like she wanted a name that had sort of like meaning like for her cultural background. Her family's Mexican American, so she wanted something that had a good meaning in that. So I'm not even against that necessarily. And not everyone is gonna go about it the same way I did, which is just going through every fantasy novel and sci-fi movie I've ever seen and suggesting all the women's names. So
I have 2 names that I want it to be, but I want to tell you in private. Or I'll tell you.
I'm curious. You better not forget them.
Oh, of course I have them because I wanted to name my daughter these names. But here, can we just agree? The branding thing is absolutely disgusting, okay? And children these days, if you have kids who can speak, I don't yet. Hopefully she never learns. But they watch so much YouTube content and they see shows like this, and straight up when they're like, they'll say things like, "Hey, like, share, and subscribe." Guys, no. Save yourself. Don't be an influencer. Don't be like, Mama John or Papa Fran. You know what I mean? Like we do this because this is the only thing we know how to do. You go into STEM. You go get a other job. You save the world. We're just yammering all day. Don't do this.
Well, and also think about the trauma, the psychological trauma that young kids experience when they're dancing and pointing and no words show up. Like there's just no text there. They're not gonna understand how the world works.
Yeah, they go out to the club and they're like, ba 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 ba, wing. What?
There's no interesting fact about the minimum wage. Yeah. Damn it. Anyway, okay, well, I'm gonna get her names later, and I will eventually reveal the name. John's gonna name his daughter AOC. Ha ha ha. My wife said no. Anyway, with that said, we do have other names.
That is way too thirsty, dude. That's like that's that long game. That's a psycho long game.
I'm not doing that, obviously. I'm just saying that, like, I think that Alexandria is a beautiful name. Does anyone disagree? Does anyone disagree?
No,
it's got a cute nickname, Alex. Does anyone disagree?
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.